I'm looking to buy a business within the next 6 to 12 months. My action steps of doing that, number one, is to define my criteria, what my buy box is. Now, for me, I've identified something in the real estate industry. I'm currently in the real estate industry. Home-based services, a service-based business. Now, I'm still looking through criteria as far as numbers go, but what I can say is I'm looking to make 6 figures off this first acquisition and enough room to pay a capital partner and an operating manager too as well. So I built a spreadsheet, an underwriting model. It's a very simple one, but it's one that I can use to identify right off the bat if this fits the criteria, if it fits the debt service, the correct cash flow metrics, the DSCR, the debt service coverage ratio. And if you don't know any of these terms, that's okay. We will get into it. I'm still learning too as well. And I built this underwriting model just to identify yay or nay, essentially. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to local websites that are posting, local and national, that are posting businesses for sale. The most popular, Biz Buy Sell. There's a few other ones out there that I'm starting to learn, but this just kind of gives me an idea of what's going on in the market, what kind of deals are for sale right now that are on market, and to underwrite at least from the public data that they give us. So let's get into it. And first, let's run over the first part. So I have a few different screens here, or tabs: filter, debt service, and then deals. I do have a tracker on here that's basically me tallying up. I haven't really kept up with this. I thought I would, but that's okay. I'm pretty disciplined on getting on this. So first page is the filter. So what I do here is this is a very high level. I have to input these basic metrics here to see if it even passes a test to go on to the debt service. Okay, so once you plug in these figures, which this is all the public information traditionally that you'll see on the Biz Buy Sell website, you'll go over to the debt service, which now we can put in our assumptions, and you'll see our output. And this is going to give you like, hey, we're using SBA debt. We need to bring in 10% down. I'm bringing in a capital partner. What preferred return, what equity position are they getting? What my salary would look like, what a manager's salary would look like, and how does this cash flow, how does the debt service coverage ratio, does this even fit parameters for SBA? Does it fit parameters for a capital partner to get, a 20 to 30% return? Does this business make money? Is it healthy, right? So there's a lot in here. Let's get started. First things first, I just go to bizbuysell.com. These are publicly listed businesses for sale right now. I type in Tulsa County. This is the area that I'm located in. And I start looking through these different businesses. And to me, I have defined the criteria a little bit. I'm not super zoned in yet. I need to get more specific, but I know it needs to be attached to real estate in some form or fashion. I love real estate. I'm going to stay around it. I know, but I'm looking for predictable cash flow. I love business. That's why I'm moving away from the active income side of real estate that I've been in, wholesaling, realtor, flipping homes right now. I don't feel, I love investing. I've got a portfolio with another partner, and I'm looking to continue to grow that, and I love it. I want to even get into bigger assets, but I'm going all in on business right now. That's what I want. So as I look through, I'm seeing a few things. I'm still kind of iffy on trades. I don't know with holding heavy licenses. I'm electrician, plumber, those carry large licenses. So they require a little bit more. So not sure just yet. So let's go ahead and find a business. Let's get it plugged in, and we'll see if this can work here. So some of these, this is perfect, right? Profitable home service business, turnkey operation. This is a franchise model that's currently. So here's a good one right here. Established glass service and window cleaning business. This is established, been around since 2005. That's another criteria. I'm looking for the business to have some age, at least 5 to 7 years old, at least. Nothing that's been around for a couple of years. You just can't really get a gauge on the health, on the metrics of this business. So um, let's plug this one in. So established glass service window cleaning business. We go to filter tab and we'll type in glass service and window cleaning. Okay, they have it list price at $8.95. So right off the bat, it's actually red. So I have these on a conditional, is what Google spreadsheets call it. But I have a condition here, and I'm not even sure how to pull it up. Let me see here. Where's condition? I think it's under format. Yeah, here we go. So anything to $1 million to $3 million is in red. Yeah, I'm not sure. This might be messed up, so sorry about that. Okay, let's just keep going. Look, I'm not a spreadsheet wizard. I built it with ChatGPT. Gross revenue, 890 or 960 rather. 960, 462. Okay, that's in the green. Right on. EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. It's not disclosed, so we're going to leave that blank. We've got cash flow at 289, 314. That's SDE, which is seller's discretionary earnings. 289, what was the last four? 314. Okay, do they own real estate? Let's scroll down on the listing here, and I actually need to log in order to, let's see. Home base, willing to provide training, growth, facility, business easily operated, small footprint. So no, I'm going to say they don't. It's all home based. So no real estate, which is fine. They've established since 2005. That's really good. That's very tenured. I'd like to see that. They do seller financing. Sometimes they will say it on here. Financing negotiable. So potentially, yes. I'm just going to put yes. Okay, industry match? Yes, actually. So this first page, this filter page, is simply to say, does this even meet the criteria, just a very high level, to move on to the next? Right now, the metrics I have in here, it's saying no. The list price is not great enough, which that should actually not even be in there. But the SDE, the cash flow, that's a big metric. Revenue is revenue. Like, you'll hear people that are making, I have a $2 million business. Their expenses might be literally 1.8, 1.9, and they're bringing home like 100 grand, 200 grand after expenses. Okay. So, revenue is a good metric, but it's not. What we're really looking for is that SDE, that seller's discretionary earnings. This is after payroll and taxes and all the expenses that they have. This is directly to the owner's pocket. Now, in my case, I'm looking to have enough margin for a capital partner, enough margin for a operator, and someone I can even give some equity to and really grow the business, give them some skin in the game, So, all right, so we're going to move over to debt service. This is where the fun begins. This is where the magic happens. So we're going to start at the top. Purchase price actually transferred over. Now, what I'm looking to do is use SBA. SBA will finance 90% of business. There is a lot of variables. I don't know all of SBA. I'm learning. I can tell you just what I know. So 90%, they'll do at least, or at the most, a 90% finance amount. So that means we're going to need to bring $89,500 to this deal based on this purchase price. So I have a loan amount here, $805. Interest rate right now, what we're seeing at SBA is about 11%. And the terms that they give you are 10 years. So as we plug in the interest rate, which is 11 on an annual basis, loan term, which is 10 years, we're going to see a monthly payment of $11,995, annual debt service at $133,000. So we plugged in the debt service. This is traditional. This is just saying, hey, If we bought the business for $895,000, I give them $89,500 just for the down payment. There will be a closing cost. If you're using a broker, that's very normal. So we're probably going to have to bring more money to this deal on top of, this is something I learned today too, SBA, even capital partners, if you're bringing them in like I am, they're going to want to see some reserves too as well. Like 6 months, 8 months, a year of capital reserve. So that might be another metric that we actually raise in this whole operation. So not to get too off topic. Annual debt service, $133,146. So now we move down to the earnings, salaries, and the cash flow. So SDE has pulled over from what the information they gave us, $289,314. Right now, that's a little low based on the metrics that I gave it. So the conditional here, it needs to be over $300,000. And again, this is for a reason, and I'll show you right here. So deal assumptions on owner salary. So I'm trying to at least look for a business that's going to bring me 6 figures. I'm really looking for 120 to 150. For the sake of this example, I'm going to put 100,000. And I don't plan on being a day-to-day operator indefinitely. I don't know how this will play out when I do buy my first business, but I can tell you this. If I have to be an operator up front to really learn the business, to really put in that sweat equity, to understand the different facets, the different ins and outs, I definitely will. If that's the first 6 months to a year, I will dedicate that time to get that business going the direction I need to. But it is not the end game. The end game is to own businesses that feed the cash flow of the real estate, or the cash flow that feeds in the real estate. So I'm going to need to be more at a very high level position that is networking, big relationships for bigger accounts, for growth, team leadership, just being that, visionary on the business. So I'm going to need a manager. And this business, as we saw in the description, has 5 employees. So, it's going to need somebody who, and it might even be one of these employees who steps up. You don't know. You might not even need to bring in somebody, new. So they do have equipment and vehicles part of this. Okay. So we're going to put in a manager salary at $80,000. So paying myself $100,000, paying a manager $80,000, we're left with an NOI. This is net operating income. So revenue minus your expenses, which right now will be manager salary, incomes, all that stuff, is your NOI. Debt service doesn't go over NOI, okay? We're going to get down to cash flow right now, and we're already bleeding is what I can see. NOI, net operating income, is $100,314. So we have $100,000 cash flow. Our debt service is $133,000 a year. So now in this current structure, we're losing $23,000 a year. That's with me bringing $89,000 of my own money to the deal. So we don't work on this current structure because we haven't even added in what our capital partner will get on his investment. So, and let's keep going. So we're at negative cash flow after the debt. We are now at a 0.82 DSCR, so debt service coverage ratio. This is simply saying that do we have enough money covering the debt? And, so for every, $2 we get in, there's $1 debt. So that's a 2.0. And do we have enough money coming in to cover the debt? This is going to be huge for everybody, not just the lender, the capital partner, and even yourself. You need to be strong on this number. According to what I've read, SBA is not even going to fly on like a 1.4, 1.5, 1.6. They want to see close to 2, if not 2 or higher, which I'm sure is extremely difficult to pencil out. But right now we're at 0.82. This is not a deal. we're bringing in our own money. We don't even have money to pay a capital partner. This is a big fat fail over here. This is what I have on a metric. I just have a little tab up here that says fail. So this is saying C22, which is your debt service coverage ratio, is greater than or equal to 1.5. C21, which is your cash flow after debt at 75,000 greater to or equal to 75,000 is a healthy pass or fail. So it failed. It didn't meet the metrics I had in there. This is not a deal without bringing in more money to the deal. I mean, you're going to have to bring in, let's do 25% down. Even with 25% down, 233,000, we are left here. So one thing that's going to make this business go is if I don't put $80,000 on a manager's salary and I just do an owner salary, right? So this is the point of the spreadsheet. This is playing around with it, not to make the numbers work per every deal, but you just start learning, like, how much actual earnings do I need to support the roles I'm trying to put in to plays? You know, I mean, or how much do I want to sacrifice? What's actually important to me? So this is something that you can play with right now. So we are at a 1.27. This is in the green now on the DSCR, but we're really not cooking. So we're going to say this is a fail. This is not going to work unless we get some kind of seller carry too as well. Let's say we got a seller carry at another 10%. Seller carry, seller financing simply means that you and the seller create an agreement together, create terms together. No bank. Simply saying, hey, I don't have the $895,000. Can I pay you over 10 years at an interest rate? And there's a lot of benefits to the seller for doing that, by the way. It seems kind of wild, but yeah, taxes, predictable cash flow. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So let's say we mixed in a seller financed amount. So the calculator I have here, if I put in another 10% seller carry, it actually moved my debt down. Let's say we do it at 5%, and we just give him 5 years. So I do annual payments to him at $16.88 a month, or an annual payment. So, and that will leave, so we're at 120. Let's move this back down to 100 like we had it. And paying a manager. Okay, paying the manager busts this deal. It just doesn't have enough margin to pay a high-level manager. So if we did a 10% down to the SBA, we brought in $89,000 from a capital partner, and we'll plug in the capital partner. 10% seller carry, 5%, 5 years. It's probably a long time to do 5 years, in my opinion. And we have to give the capital partner a return. So I have a couple different spots here